we have to give credit where it's due. I think Bandai's pulled off a masterstroke here with One Piece TCG and its success. But I wanted to think today about the fragility of that, and what you need for growth and what you need for the hobby to last and for collectors to continue to come in, players to continue to come in. And I think we've seen something unprecedented. And to give you an example, that EBO3 is a good example, where obviously on pre-release, the price of the booster box, we haven't seen that before in One Piece. But we've also seen something unprecedented where, and I don't believe this has happened in Pokemon. Again, like I've said in previous videos, I'm not an expert on Pokemon, so correct me if I'm wrong for people that have collected Pokemon. But we've got cards that on release are over £1,000. Like, for example, in the last set, the buggy on release was like 2,000, the gold buggy, or 2,500. I don't think we've ever seen that. I don't think that's ever happened in in Pokemon and other TCGs. So it's almost in its own lane, and that's not saying, I'm not comparing directly, or I am comparing directly, but I'm not saying that One Piece is better than Pokemon. That's not what this is about. But there is no doubt we have to give praise to Bandai and give credit where it's due, that they pulled off a masterstroke of amazing artwork. The link into the anime, they've just done that brilliantly to entice the One Piece anime fans. And they've also done, they've created, well, the scarcity thing I'm going to come on to, but the tie-in with the story, the tie-in with the cards, the artwork and the print quality, along with the partnerships, the collaborations, like the Borussia Dortmund cards, the Dodgers Luffy cards, all of these little collaborations. I believe there's a Red Bull card coming out soon. These collaborations are genius. There's no doubt about it. Like, it's amazing. But and that has brought in lots and lots of new collectors. But do you really think that Bandai want EBO3 at $600, $500, $600, or even £500 on pre-release, and you can't get it? Do you really think that's what they want? I've seen some stuff online, like some conspiracies around this is all part of their master plan. Now this is my opinion, but I think it's laughable. If you think this is part of their master plan, you've never worked in a corporate company. It is not part of their master plan, in my view. Okay, let me be very clear. These are just my opinions. Love to hear yours in the comments. They are not deliberately, and I may have even found myself saying this on previous videos about it, because I was falling into that, oh, maybe this is by design trap. And I was thinking about this, and I was doing more and more research into this. This isn't by design. Think about it. Bandai, again, props where it's due. Artwork, printing, the artwork, the design, the quality of the cards, the tie into the anime, the collaborations, the partnerships, all of that stuff they've been amazing with. Do you think Bandai haven't got a social team that's talking to the community? They're a big organisation. They have other TCGs they've done before. And you can say people look at I think it's Dragon Ball or another one of the TCGs they did, and they go, oh well, they know they made mistakes there with reprinting, so they've learnt their lesson and this is what they're doing. No. The pressure from the top in corporate to make money is overwhelming for them. They'll be getting so much pressure. They'll be saying to them every single day in those meetings, why have you got so much demand and you can't get a supply out? They're in this zone of, and this is why it's fragile, they're in this current zone of, they've nailed the art, they've nailed the printing, but now they're in they've got a problem, because if they could just print more of EBO3 and OP14 even when it was released, they would have. They would have just printed more. If they could just do more and more and more waves, they would do, because they want to make money. They'd certainly do it to the point where the set starts to get close to RRP or MSRP. Okay, recommended retail price. They certainly will print to get to the point of that. Whether they do that in a smart way by doing like 10% increments on the printing, or whether they did it on like wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, whatever their strategy is, and I don't know it, I'm not an expert in printing, they would have done it. Think about the basic economics of it. They have tons of demand and no supply. And they're not silly. They can see the community is crying out for, whether it's a players, whether it's collectors, whatever it is, even probably investors or people that are purely investing, not scalpers, but investors. They want more product as well. Everyone wants more product. And the thing is, everyone that's saying this is a master stroke, they've created this hype and they have created it. But is it by design, or is it just because they physically can't print more? Think about how printing works. They must be at physical capacity. They get slots that they book. They're buying they've got these expensive machines, whether they own them or they're building new factories in China to print this stuff, or print this stuff in Japan. Wherever it's being printed, they've got to be at capacity. And they can't just fire up another massive print run because they've got slots. There's loads of, the same factory isn't just printing one thing, they're printing multiple different things. So this whole notion of, oh, well, this is a master stroke and they've created this. Now, it's a dangerous crossroads they're at, if you like, because the only way the TCG continues to grow is that you get more people coming into the hobby. And so if you were coming in today, and I've made videos, my last video I did a bit of a market, is it cooling off? And it has cooled off. I think it definitely has cooled off the market, and there has been slight reduction in some of the prices, and but it's still expensive, right? I mean, what's your target audience here? If you're trying to get new people in, if I was a new collector, whether I love the anime and watched it for 20 years, or I've watched one episode, or I've just watched the Netflix show, or whatever my journey is on One Piece, or whether I just like the art, whatever your reason is to collect, or you're fed up with Pokemon, or you're fed up with Dragon Ball, or you're fed up with Star Wars, whatever it is, whatever your rationale is to coming into One Piece, if you look back and you see every booster box is like triple RRP, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll get the most recent set. I'll get the newest set. Oh yeah, this EBO3 is coming out. Oh, how much is that? It's 500 a box. Do you think it's going to continue to grow in the same way? And what everyone doesn't get is that's not good for the hobby. They need it to continue to grow because it's all about attention. It's attention that they need. Okay, they've got past the 3-year mark, which is the golden rule with TCGs. They've got past that mark, so that's good. And I'm not saying, by no means am I saying it's going to die and it's going to disappear tomorrow. That is not what I'm saying. But do you really think that Bandai don't want to print more? That's naive. It's just taking them time. It's going to take them 6 months or 12 months to sort out these printing slots or these printing runs or negotiate new deals with their suppliers. Whatever they're trying to do, they will be desperately trying to do that because whilst they've got this massive, this massive hype on, and this is the problem now. There's so much demand, there is no supply. EBO3, I believe, was just one print wave. I was even watching another video today, and the really great podcast these two guys do, and they were saying that it's a one wave print run, and there's been theft. Like, there's a load of EBO3 stolen. Apparently, it's out and on the market already, and people are selling these boxes at like $600-700 a box. When there's one print run, one print wave, that's a problem. So I think they need to be, it's quite fragile right now in many ways. Now look, I think the cooling off of the market, as I discussed on the last video, and the ability to get into some more of these cards and some of the price drops we're seeing, that little correction is healthy. It means people can get into stuff they want to, and if you want to collect stuff, now's a good opportunity. Or it seems to be that there's maybe it will continue. So like I said in the last video, don't jump in, but I just wanted to address the printing thing and the reprints. It is now a little bit of a concern. I have a bit of concern that there's going to be so much pressure from the people at Bandai that run the business to say you've got to cash in on this demand, that maybe they're going to go really, really far the other way, because they're going to go from nothing to suddenly printing it into the ground, and that's going to mean that there's a lot of value loss. And look, whether you're a collector, whether you're a player, no matter who you are, I don't think anyone wants to see that. Yeah, where they just print it. You know, in other TCGs have done that, and it hasn't gone well for them in the long run. So you can say, oh, the players might say, oh, that's fantastic. You know, we can get hold of anything we want for our decks. Like, I get that. It's still a player's game. It's not a collector's game. I get that. But what do you think happens if there's nobody buying this stuff anymore? They would print it so hard there's no scarcity, that people stop collecting it. What do you think is going to happen to the TCG long term? So look, this is not doomsday. It's not, oh, it's all over. But I just really want to address the elephant in the room of, do you really think that Bandai doesn't want to reprint this stuff and make some money? Like, they're in business to make money. They're a commercial business. They're a commercial outfit. They're not doing this. This, in my view, the more I think about it, is not some master marketing stroke, master plan to deliberately, by design, not print enough product so that the prices go through the roof, so they attract so much hype into the hobby, because we haven't had more prints and it's cooled off. So work that one out. There's been no reprints, there's been no more product on the market, and yet prices are cooling off, mangas are cooling off, booster box prices are cooling off, OP14 is cooling off. EVO 3 still hasn't, but it hasn't been released yet, but let's see what happens with that. So what do you think happens if they suddenly print this into the ground because they reverse engineer, because they're like 12 months behind, and they're like, right, let's just print. Now, I hope they don't do that. I don't think they will, but yeah. More of a thought discussion, want to get your views in. Those are just my views. Love to hear from you as always. Look, thank you so much for you following along and liking and subscribing. I've really enjoyed the conversation in the comments with you guys, and yeah, thank you so much. The kind words and the comments, as always, it's been overwhelming, and I think we're building a great community here together. So look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.